So this is an issue that's getting pretty hard to ignore. Almost every major blockbuster recycles the exact same A-list actors over and over and over again. I mean, are there a few actors that sign some kind of blood oath in order to always get work? Or is it just that casting directors have gotten really, really lazy? Well, the answer is actually a lot more depressing than you might think. But first, let's meet the actors that literally take around 90% of all the major lead roles in Hollywood today. Starting with an obvious one, Ryan Reynolds. Now, what I love about Ryan Reynolds is that he's basically turned being sarcastic into a multi-billion-dollar career. Deadpool, sarcastic. Free Guy, sarcastic. Red Notice, sarcastic with a side serving of different colorful suede jackets. The man has found his lane, and he's staying in it. Which, I don't care what anyone says, I kind of respect it. And the thing about Reynolds, he's so good at being Ryan Reynolds that no one even seems to care or notice that he's just playing Ryan Reynolds in every single movie. I mean, it's like he looks at every script and thinks to himself, oh, how lovely. All that character direction is nice. So I guess I'm going to just go ahead and act like myself and get paid millions to do it, like I did the last time. And you know what? While we're on the subject of actors who've mastered the art of playing themselves, let's talk about the highest paid version of this strategy, Dwayne Johnson, who has appeared in more movies in the last few years than some actors manage in their entire careers. League of Super Pets? Check. Jumanji? Check. Fast and the Furious? Check. Black Adam? Check. Red Notice? Check. Moana 2? Also check. And somehow he's just released another movie and got like, I don't know, 2 more movies coming out next year. His formula is so predictable and simple, it's almost genius. Be Mr. Nice Guy. Do that single eyebrow raise thing once or twice, save the day, and always try to keep it PG. It's like he found the perfect Hollywood recipe and just keeps serving the same meal over and over again. And you know what? It works. Yes, he's got the odd controversy here and there, but overall, the perception of The Rock is that he's a nice guy that makes safe choices both on and off screen. And then we have the Marvel cast, who just dominate everything from blockbusters to Netflix and Disney Plus shows. For instance, Tom Holland is Spider-Man, but is also somehow in every other action movie, trying really hard to prove he can do something besides being the friendly neighborhood hero. And the same applies to the other Marvel alumni like Hollywood's holy trinity of frisses. I'm talking about Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, and Chris Pratt, who have all been in multiple major blockbuster movies and TV shows alongside their Marvel projects within the last few years. I mean, Chris Evans thought he was done being Captain America, but nope. Hollywood just kept putting him in different movies where he's basically still Captain America, but just without the outfit and shield. But by far the undisputed winner and person who made this whole phenomenon impossible to ignore is none other than Pedro Pascal. I mean, this guy has found his way into almost every single major Hollywood franchise. Narcos, Game of Thrones, Gladiator, Kingsman, Wonder Woman, The Mandalorian, The Last of Us, Fantastic Four. Oh yeah, and he was just in Eddington and The Materialist. Those are 2 additional releases from just this year alone. Then he's got the next season of The Mandalorian coming up, Avengers Doomsday, and it just goes on and on. And you know what? Hollywood just keeps feeding him role after role because, well, he gets the job done, I guess? He seems to have a generic, global leading man look and charm that fits into every blockbuster, but it doesn't hurt that he has the right politics, talking points, and public image that studios love. But the men aren't the only ones. There are also a small number of women that Hollywood likes to keep in permanent rotation as well. Little Women, Florence Pugh. Midsummer, Florence Pugh. Black Widow, Oppenheimer. Don't Worry, Darling. We Live in Time. Thunderbolts, also Florence Pugh. I think one of the reasons Florence Pugh is everywhere is that she's the definition of a safe bet. She's a great actress, broadly appealing, and almost never creates controversy. The same applies to Zendaya and Margot Robbie, who are both completely bankable and universally liked by audiences and critics alike. But then there's the actress who turned being hated into a superpower. No, I'm not talking about Rachel Zegler. I'm talking about Sydney Sweeney. She's become one of the most polarizing actresses in Hollywood. The internet seems to either love or hate her, and yet she keeps getting roles. Because studios have realized that casting her doesn't just get you an actress, you get weeks of free publicity too. Her name in the credits guarantees that people will be talking about your movie, whether they love it or hate it. And you can say what you want about her, but her brand of controversy comes with a lot of sold products or theater tickets, unlike, say, someone like Rachel Zegler. But we must, and I mean must, talk about Gal Gadot, who seems to be generating the same amount of fatigue and burnout as Pedro Pascal. Wonder Woman, Fast and Furious, Justice League, Snow White, Red Notice, and just like Pedro Pascal, she represents a sort of globalization. She's like an international star that has the right politics for the Hollywood elite, yet still has a universal international appeal. But all of this brings us to the real question that's been building up throughout all of my examples. Why does Hollywood keep returning to the same small group of faces for every major blockbuster? Well, the first and most obvious reason: cold, hard cash. When a studio is dropping $200 million on a movie, they want guarantees. Think about it from their perspective. If you had to bet $200 million on a movie, would you rather gamble on some unknown actor who might be amazing? Or would you just hire The Rock and know that at least some people will show up opening weekend? Yeah, it's not exactly creative, but it's definitely practical. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Marvel Cinematic Universe basically broke Hollywood's brain. Before Marvel, actors would do a movie, promote it, and move on to the next film. But Marvel proved that if you get audiences attached to specific actors playing specific types of characters, they'll keep coming back for more. So now every studio is trying to recreate that magic. They want their own Ryan Reynolds, their own Rock, their own Zendaya. But the problem is, instead of finding new people to build franchises around, they're just hiring the same people over and over again and hoping lightning strikes twice. And then there's social media, which has turned actors into walking marketing departments. The Rock has almost 400 million Instagram followers. That's not just star power. That's a built-in advertising campaign that would cost studios millions of dollars to recreate. When The Rock posts about his new movie, he's basically giving the studio free marketing to an audience bigger than most countries. So from a business perspective, hiring him isn't just about his acting. It's about getting access to his personal brand and social media empire. But here's the part that makes all of this not just a necessity, but a make-or-break strategy. 2 words: international markets. This is because pretty much all major Hollywood blockbusters make most of their money overseas. And you know what? Foreign audiences tend to gravitate toward actors they recognize. So studios have basically figured out which faces sell the most tickets in China. And yeah, just keep rehiring those same people. Now, it's not that international audiences can't and don't appreciate new talent. It's that when you're spending hundreds of millions of dollars, you want to, minimize risk. And apparently, Ryan Reynolds making sarcastic jokes translates well in every country on the globe. But that's where this whole system starts to break down. Using the same actors in every movie means that after a while, you just can't see the character because all you can see is the actor. You're not watching Deadpool, you're watching Ryan Reynolds just, be himself with superhuman powers. Again. And let's be honest about something else. When actors know they're getting hired for their brand rather than their talent, the performances start to suffer. I mean, you can even see it in some of these newer blockbusters, where the project is clearly a cash grab, the story sucks, and actors are just going through the motions. They're not being challenged, they're not growing as performers, they're just showing up and collecting their paycheck. Daniel Craig literally said he'd rather slash his than play James Bond again. Which is what happens when you trap talented people in the same role over and over. They start to hate the thing that made them famous. which is a topic I covered in my last video. And it's not just audiences who suffer. There are many incredibly talented actors out there who can't get their foot in the door because casting directors are too busy speed dialing the same people. We're missing out on fresh perspectives, new energy, and different types of stories because studios are desperate to turn movie making into a formula. But the really cruel irony is that this system is already eating itself. Because the thing is, formulas work until they don't. But until international audiences completely stop showing up for blockbusters, Hollywood will probably keep serving up the same actors in the same predictable movies, whether we like it or not.